Major General Ironside of the British Army was in command. Colonel Stewart was our commander of the 339th Regiment and the American soldiers and so on. But he was only a colonel, see, and he was just in command of the American troops. And of course, the French had their commander, and the Canadian artillery that was in there, and their commander. And of course, the English Major General, he was in command of the whole thing, and it really was an Allied outfit, see. And he was in charge of the whole thing. And I wish you could have seen that man. He was a man about 250 pounds and about 6 foot 6 or 7. A great big man, and I guess he was a good soldier because at the beginning of World War II, he was the English chief of staff in charge of the whole English army at the beginning of World War II and so. And
Did you ever see any of the British generals, like General Poole or General Ironside?
I've seen General Ironside quite a few times. He'd pretty much have to stoop down there just stand in his room. He was a very tall man. And he'd have to stoop to go through one of these doors.
Wow. What did you think of him?
He was a pretty nice man. He was English, but he was a pretty fair man. And of course, the Americans up there didn't think too much of the English. You can imagine that. Being under English command, we didn't think too much of the English.
And when we went up there, the first month we went up, we didn't have that. All we had was just, right old Russian Army rifles that we had, All you could do was pop, pop, pop with the, and that didn't stop them very much. See. But after we had a little more even with them. They had machine guns, and they'd stopped us more than once already with these machine guns, But we kind of evened things up a little bit after we got back from machine gun school and had these machine guns. Of course, then we weren't out of it yet because we had pick a crew and we had to go out and learn them how to fire, in case anybody got hurt or anything else, you had to take their place.
What was your clothing like? Was it pretty warm or not? Your clothing, was that pretty warm?
Oh yeah, we had big fur coats that were mixed wool, most of the wool, of course, they come down here about this far. Then we had boots, what they call the Shackleton boot, and had a big thick leather sole on them, and then it come up about this high on you, and you fasten them up here on top here. Now we wore a couple pair of heavy socks, and then we had a big fur hat. There's some pictures there's pictures in there of some of the fellows with their big coats on and stuff. You had to keep your ears covered, right? And you had to pretty well keep your nose covered, so you couldn't go out in 30, 40 degrees weather, what you'd have your nose frostbitten or your ears frostbitten.
And what did you understand the purpose to be for fighting the Bolsheviks?
That was hard to tell. Just what our purpose was there, to fight the Bolsheviks. See, the Bolsheviks were just a little kind of a disorganized group when we got there, but and they was on the run for a while, but they soon got so they stood their grounds. They got organized better, and they stood their grounds pretty good.
How did the fighting with the Bolsheviks go? Were they better armed than you were, and did they outnumber you?
Oh, we was greatly outnumbered. However, I don't know, I guess if they'd been better, they'd won, but so we come out victorious, so it must be we were superior.
You came out victorious in that battle in Velikoozerskii. You came out victorious in the battle at Velikoozerskii. Is that what you mean?
No, I mean in the overall
No.
engagements.
During like September, back in September, and in the early part of the campaign, how well planned did your orders seem to be? Did things run smoothly? And
I wish I could answer that and say that they did, but they didn't. I think the only thing was misplanned from the beginning. Why now we had others up there. We had Canadians, and we had English, and we had French there. Now the Frenchmen are fine. They were fine soldiers. They come right from the French front, right? And they were fine soldiers until the armistice was signed, and then they quit. Now, when the armistice was signed, well, they just quit everything. They just said, "Fini le guerre." They were done. They were absolutely done, and they absolutely quit, and they couldn't do nothing with them. They had to send them back to Archangel and do nothing with them because their war was over. See?
Did you actually observe this French withdrawal?
Oh yes, we
Yeah.
saw they were walking about. They just came back and said, "Well, the war's over. We've no intention of doing any more." You know, they were shouting and saying, "Hooray! It's all finished. Now we go home."
And did they literally physically drop their arms and start walking?
I think they had, some of them had their rifles for their own protection, but they obviously weren't going to do any more fighting. That was out.
And then right afterwards, they took the English out too, and then they left us alone there with the White Russians. They said.
And by which time the real winter came on, January, we'd gone.
how did you feel when the French refused to fight after the armistice was signed?
We felt the same as they did. We didn't want to fight in the war either. What could we do? So, because the French, had been in so many years, we couldn't blame them. And so, their officers never made any attempt to stop them from celebrating, And our officers did with us, they said, don't bring the end of it for us. As far as their officers are concerned, they didn't say nothing, They never did anything about it. And as far as the mutiny is concerned, this little idea of a mutiny that we had was nothing alongside of those guys, and those guys just walked right off, and the line never went by. And they never did anything about it, because the war, as far as they was concerned, was over. It wasn't over for them, and nor was for us. But it was. For like a few days, they sent them to Archangel.
Did you feel that American involvement in North Russia was justified?
Justified? No, absolutely not. And as far as I may be one that's concerned that we had no business over there. Maybe the military leaders thought different, and maybe the reason that they said that we were sent up there to keep the Germans out of there, maybe that's the reason. I don't know. Maybe they thought so. But my personal thoughts is we didn't have no business there.